Hello, I'm Orlando von Einsiedel, and I have the pleasure of joining Slava Leontyev, who is a director and participant, and Paula DuPré Pesmen, who is a producer and writer of the fantastic film Porcelain War. I thought the film was beautiful, intimate, illuminating about the power of art, sacrifice, the strength of the human spirit, and it stayed with me for days after watching it, and leaving me with questions about whether or not I'd do the same in under the same circumstances as you, Slava. So that's what's been going on in my head for the last few weeks. Um, anyway, look, enough for me. I'd love to ask you some questions, and maybe I could start by asking how Slava, how are Anya and Andre and the rest of Team Saigon since how they all doing?
Thank you so much for this question. Most important question for me. Uh, Anya is here with me. We are both support our movie now, and it's now our responsibility here in United States. Uh, all my friends from Saigon unit are survived so far, and it's miracle. We are so lucky because they have horrible battle after Battle of Bakhmut, but everyone survived so far. Andrei is in Kharkiv now, and his family is in Luxembourg. They are in safe, but this family still broken apart. As millions of Ukrainian family because this war.
Thank you. That's very good to hear that everyone's doing okay under the circumstances. Um, Guys, tell me how did this come about? This American Ukrainian collaboration. There's probably other countries involved as well, but
Yeah,
talk me through how this all started.
yeah. There's many, also Australia and Poland, and it is a real international group of people that wanted to help support them to tell their story. The Slava and Anya were already working together with Brendan, the co-director, and Yala, one of the other producers, and they were doing an animated project. And then the war broke out, and when they checked on them, they found out that Slava was not leaving and Anya and they were staying. And the idea was to send a camera to them and just see what's happening around them and give them a tool to tell their story and to show their story. And then we began to send more cameras and more equipment. And Brendan set up these little film schools on Zoom, and helped them quickly learn. They needed the technical side of it, but they were and also some guidance on filming. But what we found was they filmed it very different than we would have had we gone, because they are artists and they took these cameras and they just started really to create art. And we were so surprised that it was just so beautiful. And that's how they see the world, and that's how um, they find the beauty around them. And it just evolved, adding translators and more cameras. And then Slava's unit got cameras and they started filming. And it's just everybody felt empowered, I think, to have this new tool to tell their story and show what was happening to them as just ordinary citizens.
Amazing. I want to ask more about the kind of the creative and the craft of that. And you're right, the cinematography is stunning on this film. But before that, Slava, how did that feel for you? You're already at risk just being in Kharkiv, your work as well. How did you feel about the added risk of documenting your life and putting your head above the parapet when a film like this comes out? Did you need to be convinced to take part in this film?
It was enough risk just to be in Kharkiv, and it's hard to add something for this risk because Russians shelling districts of apartment houses, and so many people was killed in their kitchen or bedroom, and kids was killed, 8 months baby, uh, in in this situation, and it's hard to add something for this risk, and it was easy for us start to film because from the very beginning we understood what we can do. We understood we will never focus it uh, on something horrible. We will never be focused on evil, because all war looks same, all destruction looks same, and much more important to show what may be destroyed because this war, because evil is attacking beauty, and so important to show the target of this invasion, main target, our culture, and identity and kindness of my friends in Saigon units, in Saigon unit. But me personally, I was afraid to film something in real battle mission. I had not such a big experience of real mission, and I was afraid to miss something because security of my friends was depend on me. But my friends, it's amazing people, so brave and so smart, regular civilian people who came to army to defend their homes and defend their families, but they felt this kind of responsibility in the face of history, because all of us feeling it's not about Ukraine and Ukrainian only. It's about totalitarian attack on democracy state, and its attack on independence and humans diversity and the identity of our peoples. So we started to film, and my friends just when I asked them, can you film something on mission? Can you use these body cameras? Is it too dangerous? Maybe they just get this camera and answered me, "We will do this. It's because it's important." And I was serving in Ukrainian army at that time, and I was able to film anything only because my unit completely supported us. And when I picked up my camera, someone picked up a rifle in my place.
Paula, you mentioned that, you know, the beginning it involved from your side sending some cameras and doing some, you know, some sort of training exercises in terms of filming techniques. But I spent enough time making films in conflict zones to know that making any film is hard, but that adds so many other layers of difficulty. So from a producing side, how was making this film, and what were the kind of key challenges for you?
Yeah, that's true, right? You have had such similar experience. I would say we had a language. The first thing was language and distance. We were using a translator on a lot of this. Slava and Anya didn't speak any English at all throughout the entire making of the film. So that is something that they started learning once they got here.
That's amazing, by the way, Slava, that we're doing this in English, and this you've only learned it in the last 18 months.
Yeah, it is amazing. And so the language was a challenge, and then we had a lot of footage that was coming in, and we were getting that translated in real time as quickly as we could so that we could edit. We felt an urgency to get the film together and out because of what's happening, and it wasn't something that we had 2 years to make. We needed to get it out. And so we were cutting and working with them in real time. And so as we got the footage, what we started to do right away was set up some conversations where we could just every few days talk to them and learn more about what was happening, so that because we weren't there physically on the ground, we needed to really have a more intimate understanding as well. And the first day we did that, Andre set up the camera and we got online, and the first question I was just said, "How did you meet?" And they told that story that is at the beginning of the film, and actually the some of the first footage that they filmed is the opening of the film. So we started following that juxtaposition of what was happening and what they were sending to us. And then it was art, and then it was some war, and then it was training. And, you know, the film follows kind of what their life was like every day. And we worked around a lot of power outages and air raid sirens and waiting for things, calling back. And I think the biggest challenge was their safety. We couldn't do anything from here to keep them safe, but we did follow things that were important to them. And Slava shared it was important that we stayed at least 3 months behind on any footage that we would be sharing, that it was, you know, safe, because it could give away where they were at on their missions and their safety. So I think as a producing team, we were very concerned about that and what could we do to keep them safe. And having, you know, you when we got into Sundance and it's like, here, send us your safety plan. Do you have a safety plan? I'm like, okay, how do you, it's really hard, as you know, Orlando, to have a safety plan when the people that you're working with are being shelled daily. So I think really just trying to not interfere and not try to over impose something that we thought we should be seeing. We wanted to really find out what were they seeing, and really like letting, it's a challenge because you're used to going forward on how you get things done as you're building a film, and really staying back a little bit was really important. Not a challenge, it was important.
I want to talk about your art, Slava. You know, I think one of the biggest, strongest ideas from the film, at least to me, is this idea of using art as a weapon of war, as culture as resistance. And I think there's a line in the film that I write down: is by telling stories through art, we avoid erasure. Can you talk to me about that and why you think it was important to show the war through that lens?
Thank you. It's really maybe most important point, because our culture is the source of our resilience, and it's form of our resistance, and its main target of this attack. Since the start of Big War, our museums was destroyed, our universities was damaged, and most important, so many our artists and actors and writers and teachers and people who contribute culture, so many of these people was killed on front line or in their house, and nobody can bring these people back to life. It's our responsibility to build future of our culture again, to continue our art, to continue our culture. And it was important for us use this metaphoric language of our visual art to explain something important, and to explain something about war, because animation of our figurines, Anya painted 3 figurines for this movie with story on them about our peaceful past in Crimea, about our present in war, and about our dreams for future. And animation gave us a language to tell about the terrors of war without showing them, like news does, because news gets old quickly, but beauty never. And also it was our opportunity to explain something about our past, because we cannot was not able film our past, but we need this explanation.
I visually, I loved the animations and how they grew on your art, and that sort of juxtaposition between creating. There's so much creativity in the film, alongside all of the destruction. I found that very powerful. Were there films that you guys looked at as kind of key references for Porcelain War?
It wasn't references in that way, but when we were thinking about those stories and their figurines, they started right away. They knew the animals that they would have for each of those anchors for their lives. And when we contacted Blue Studios in Poland, they were so creative and they also had received so many Ukrainian refugees. And so this was impacting their lives as well. And they brought so much to the story. We sent them 20 years of Anya's work to study, thousands of pictures. And they took that so serious and really wanted to maintain that integrity. But Anya doesn't draw horrible things. These are her stories, are her world in her language and in metaphors. And so they took that, and then we sent them the audio from a lot of these conversations, and they were able to take her language and interpret what that would look like in the worlds that she creates on the figurines. And it felt right. It wasn't anything we had seen before in another film that inspired it. It was really Anya and Slava's work that inspired it. And it felt like an important continuation of what she was creating because we were seeing it as she was creating. They were sending us photos and footage, and we could see what was happening, and we heard them describe what she was drawing, and it just organically helped. And they spent a year. Blue Studios spent a year making this animation for these sequences and hand drew 7,000 frames of images that we could use to make these figurines come to life.
Wow. Well, as a viewer, that craft, that effort, it pays off because it's incredible. You know, it's always a danger doing animation. I find in documentaries, and it doesn't always work. And I think it works incredibly well. I I wanted to ask you, Slava, about you're a director on this film, but you're also a participant. How did you that can be a very tricky position to be in. Can you talk to me about how you found that process?
Oh, in the time of war, we never have enough attention, and anytime I was focused on one idea when I filmed. But Andres, our cinematographer, his skills, his artistic intuition was so amazing, and every time he filmed something better than my best ideas, best dreams about this. Because this, I never thought about camera when I was inside the frame, when I taught civilians. I felt life of these people probably depend of this my lesson, and sometimes I get this kind of feedback when people from frontline explained me their unit survive only because this lesson, because this I never thought about camera. I knew Andrei is here as extra man on shooting range, and I will not turn barrel of my rifle to this direction at all. I was completely focused. We were so concentrated on our work in art because if we had few hours for porcelain, we never was sure. We never sure maybe a missile attack right now and blackout, and we'll never finish it, this porcelain, and we were completely focused on this. And when I filmed, I was so impressed of all this beauty around me, all this fragile beauty. All is so fragile in time of war, and Andrei and me tried to watch around really attentively, and we filmed every flower or every person like it was last day of their existence.
One of the other lines that's really stayed with me is I think you say it, Slava, if I remember correctly, but Ukraine is like porcelain it's easy to break, but it's impossible to destroy. Um, can you talk to me about what's the what's the message that you want viewers to take away from this film?
It's so easy to break humans' life. It's so easy to take away so many human life in Ukraine, to kill so many people and destroy so many buildings and beautiful piece of art, and damage our nature. Now Ukraine is most land mining, most mining by land mine country in world, and we'll never fix this issue completely because it may take hundreds of years. And our nature, we lost so many. Our national park burned because shelling. But anyway, goal of this aggression take away our identity, take away our language and culture, and our free choice how to think and how to create. It's impossible. They never will win.
Thank you. I got one sort of final question to both of you. It's a challenging time for Ukraine at the moment. There's a lot of other big conflicts at the moment. A lot of global attention is on those. There's a new president about to come in. To both of you, what are your hopes for this film?
I hope, and it is our responsibility as artists and to bring kind of hope and kind of inspiration to audience. We can find beauty and human kindness even in the middle of this destruction. And people are afraid to watch war movie, and it's so understandable because war is horrible and disgusting and nobody wants to be up there. But it's our responsibility to bring hope and inspiration. And I hope we can do this because this story, not about Ukraine and Ukrainian only, it's about all of us who already stay for democracy. And I hope it is a story of success because my friends, regular civilian people, they are able to defend independence and distribute culture and keep humanity in the face of any aggression, even in this dark time.
And just to add to that, I mean, it is really about all of us, and I think the humanity that they showed and that they were so brave to share with us, I think is a reminder that we really are connected and that it does affect everyone, and what we do affects other people. And we need to pay attention. We need to keep our eyes open and pay attention. We can't tune this out. It's happening right now. And I think it's easy to say it's over there, it's over here. This is affecting everyone. And the humanity of this story is just the humanity of one story, one place with war. It needs to stop. We need to pay attention, and we can't tune this out. And we can't have fatigue around that. These are people just like us that are wanting to go back to their lives, and they don't want this to last a day longer. They want their peaceful lives back, and I think that would probably be said of anybody in a war. And I think it's important to pay attention. And I was so grateful that they allowed us into their world to really feel and see what that is like. and yeah, don't turn away.
Thank you. Slava, Paula, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Orlando.